What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another video. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Share this out. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers, and we hope to hit there by the end of the month. So hit the subscribe button, share out, and do all of the good stuff. Check out also some of the content that we've put out regarding the Yankees and the Giants. So, I thought I would throw this one in today and make it an interesting debate, look up facts on both sides, and come out with an answer for myself, and you guys can decide in the comments as well. The video is going to be entitled, Should the New York Giants Trade for Justin Fields? Now, before we get into everything, we got to go over the stats, the history, and all this other stuff. So, he was originally drafted by the Matt Nagy, I forget what the GM's, Ryan Pace, I think that's his name, Ryan Pace regime. And they got fired after his rookie year. They transitioned over to Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles. But in his rookie year, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Some of the year was started by Andy Dalton, if I remember correctly. 58.9 completion percentage, I already went over 7 touchdowns, 1,870 yards, took 36 sacks in 10 starts, 12 games total, and also had 420 yards and 2 touchdowns, total of 5.8 yards per carry. And we know him as a dual threat quarterback. So moving to the Eberflus regime, where they hired a guy by the name of Luke Getsy as the offensive coordinator, who now is over in Las Vegas. As far as he goes, Justin Fields in his second year, 17 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 2,242 yards, 60.4 completion percentage. 3-12 as the quarterback, 15 starts, yards per attempt, 7.1. In terms of the rushing game, some of his best numbers yet, 1,143 yards, 8 touchdowns. Let's see what else we got. 7.1 yards per carry. So 7.1 yards per carry and 7.1 yards per attempt is pretty interesting, right? Those numbers match. But nonetheless, you move over to the 2023 season where everybody's expecting, okay, Justin Fields, DJ Moore is here and all these other different guys. He's going to go take that next step. He's going to throw over 20 touchdowns and the Bears will be better than anticipated. And of course, they had the trade back with the Carolina Panthers, and they got picks, and they drafted a couple of good guys, and they also got Tremaine Edmonds in free agency, and again, they drafted decently, but nonetheless, and they also upgraded offensive line protection. Darnell Wright was at right tackle, but nonetheless, you move forward. Also, in 2022, the Bears surrendered 55 sacks on Justin Fields' behalf. So, you move to 23, and the results weren't great. 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 61.4 completion percentage, 2,562 yards, 13 games started, 5-8. With that said, yards per attempt at 6.9. You go to the rushing game, 4 touchdowns, total of 657 yards, and 5.3 yards per attempt, yards per carry. So late in the season, they decided it was time to move on from Luke Getsy. Also, just to throw this in there as well, 12, 16, and 10, those were fumbles by year, the most in 2022, and then obviously the least in 2023, also with the least amount of interceptions. So it's all about production and a couple other different things for Justin Fields. Now, again, they hired Shane Waldron, so we'll see where they go. And I don't know specifically, personally me, if the Bears didn't get the number 1 overall pick this year because of the Panthers trade, would they switch quarterbacks anyway? Is my question, right? Because at the end of the day, Matt Eberflus did not draft this quarterback. He inherited this quarterback. And again, their real pick would be at like number 9. So would they trade up for a quarterback? Would they just say, okay, he needs 1 more year and then, we'll go into 2025 and select a quarterback? So the pros and the cons to trading for Justin Fields. Actually, let's start with the pros in terms of, him as a player. Athleticism, dual threat ability, and he gave DJ Moore an absolute career year in Chicago, despite them only winning a handful of games. And the cons, the pocket presence, there needs some drastic improvement there from what I've seen in different games. I think the Bucs game that they played this past year, I think the Bucs won that game. It was not great. Or I'm thinking of another game. My apologies if I am. And then also hesitation on throws and throwing in stride consistently. So let's go into, should the New York Giants trade for Justin Fields? Why not? And then come out with a verdict at the end. Why? You have the untapped potential, and you have an offensive head coach in Brian Daboll. If Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are in sync, they could say, okay, we'll trade a pick for Justin Fields, and this is the guy we're going to work on, and hopefully we get it right. It is kind of a low-risk, high-reward type thing because, Justin Fields, you're not probably giving up a high pick for him. Now, past couple of weeks, that whole thing has changed and morphed into what I just said because there was rumors of, you're going to give up a second-round pick or a third-round pick for Justin Fields. Meanwhile, Sam Howell just got dealt. Desmond Ridder just got dealt. So, again, I don't think you're giving up premium picks to get Justin Fields. And again, you have an offensive-minded head coach, decent offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka. These two would be in sync, and you'd get Justin Fields, who, again, some other issues could be tooled out by an offensive quote-unquote guru/genius, and you wouldn't be giving up premium picks. Now, here is the why not section. Settling for an unproven commodity. Also, in the why that you could make the argument of, hey, let's trade for Justin Fields is because the Giants are out of the running for the top 3 quarterbacks in this draft, at least in my opinion, without trading up. Caleb Williams will be taken by the Bears, or at least one of those two top teams. Then you go out, and Jaden Daniels and Drake May will be taken. And even if you don't take Drake May, I think also as well, it's all dependent on what New England does and also what Washington does, because I happen to feel if Washington takes Jaden Daniels, then New England trades out. But there's a lot of scenarios that a lot of people are concocting. But nonetheless, if those 3 are taken, you're kind of screwed, or McCarthy at 6, to where if you happen to like Justin Fields as a player more and his ceiling more than a McCarthy or a Penix or a Bo Nix, you could trade a low-risk, high-reward type pick, 6th-round pick, 5th-round pick for Justin Fields, and then take Malik Neighbors, or maybe Marvin Harrison falls, you take him. So there's a couple of different options at 6, but why not section is settling for an unproven commodity. We talk about how Daniel Jones, he's never really surpassed 20 touchdowns in a season other than his rookie year. Justin Fields has yet to do that. The fumbles have gotten better on Justin Fields' side, and he does have, again, the dual threat ability. It's just the pocket presence and the throwing in stride consistently, and also some of the other flaws that he has in his game that kind of worry me about settling for an unproven commodity. I really don't like to take somebody else's garbage, and in the NFL, that barely works, right? Don't give me Russell Wilson because that's a complete, utter, just out of the box. It's an outlier. It's an outlier. That's what I mean. The Panthers traded for Baker Mayfield, or at least they signed him, whatever the case was there, right? The Panthers also traded for Sam Darnold. How did that work out? Some of these other quarterbacks going elsewhere. Unproven commodities. Josh Rosen went to the Dolphins. Didn't work out there. And I'm not trying to compare Justin Fields to the player of Josh Rosen, to the player of Sam Darnold, to the player of Baker Mayfield, though it has worked out a little bit on Tampa Bay's behalf. But I will say this. He is an unproven commodity, and as of right now, a failed first-round pick. And he ends up in the class of the Rosens of the world, of the Darnolds of the world. Not the Bakers of the world, because, again, that's worked out for Tampa Bay so far. The Giants not drafting their guy. If Justin Fields does not work out, then you do have a high-risk thing. Now, not necessarily in terms of trading a pick, but basically settling and say, hey, this is the guy we're going to work on, and he's going to take us to the promised land. Now, it does depend on a couple of different situations, whether Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen will get fired if this doesn't work. If the Giants are a quarterback away and he's not doing the job, but he's not being erratic with turnovers, then they will survive. If the rest of the team is good and Justin Fields is not, or at least he's average at best, then you say, okay, just get the quarterback, trade a first-round pick for said guy, or whatever. And then, if, going to the other side, Justin Fields is throwing picks, he's being erratic, he gets benched for a guy that's a backup, then that's a situation, if he's prohibiting the Giants from winning, is he if he's prohibiting the Giants offense from playing really well, then that might be a fireable offense for either Mike Kafka, Brian Daboll, and even up at Joe Schoen. And that's pretty much that. Why untapped potential, low risk, high reward? Why not settling for unproven commodity? Giants not drafting their guy, firing Lane if this does not work. In my opinion, personally, I don't think the New York Giants should trade for Justin Fields. I think there's going to be a team that's not within the top 5, top 6, top 7 picks wise that they will probably, trade for him now that the cost has probably gone down. I thought it was stupid that, you're sitting at number 1 overall. Why don't you just trade Justin Fields before guys like Howell and Ritter went, because you would have had the higher value. Now everybody knows what you're doing, but they're getting other quarterbacks, and they're also going to contingency plans. We saw the Raiders, they went with Gardner Minshew. Again, all these different guys going elsewhere, and the Chicago Bears are standing pat, which is a little bit of an interesting strategy, not for the best. But nonetheless, I don't think the New York Giants should go into that pool and trade for Justin Fields. Let me know in the comments if you think they should, they shouldn't, whatever. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff, turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. We're trying to work our way to 2,000 subscribers. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.